power of your mind and the mindset to success. So I want to share 5 tips or 5 ideas today that might really benefit you, that over the course of my business has made a huge impact. You know, your mind is the most powerful muscle you have. But are we using it to our advantage, or do we just allow whatever comes in, whoever is around us, to influence us? Everything happens twice. Did you know that? Everything's created twice. First, it's created in the mind, and then it's created in the world. Like somebody had to think about how to make a desk. Somebody had to think about how to build a house. Somebody had to think about how to build a car. And so all the things start in our mind first. So what you think about, you bring about. You know, when I first started my business, there were 2 words that were suggested that we say. When someone would say, "How are you?" or "How your business is going," you had 2 choices. You could say great or unbelievable. And we knew that great meant great or even good. And unbelievable meant you were having some challenges or some disappointments, or your day wasn't going exactly right. So if you have not adopted those 2 things in your life, I would encourage you to try them this week, because it's very interesting when people ask, "How are you?" Like normally people just do, right? Typically the answers are getting by, hanging in there, or people start to tell you their woes, or, you know, like anything but great. Now, there are a few people who will do that, but I just want to challenge you that over this next few days, when people ask you, "How are you?" that you say, "Great," even if your day is just okay, and watch the response that happens. 2 things happen. Number 1, it makes you feel better, even if your day is just okay. It makes you start having a better day. And they sort of look at you like, "Why are you having a great day?" Okay? Because misery loves company, right? If it's unbelievable, then you get to say that, and maybe somebody will get a feel, and maybe they'll give you a hug, or maybe they'll ask you more questions. But usually having conversation about the negative, unless it's with me or your support system or your mentor or things like that to walk through things, it just starts to bring everybody's energy down, right? So 2 words, great or unbelievable. All right. Now I noticed recently that I've not been saying great as much. I've been going good, fine. You know, like, so I need to get my game up about that, because it changes me. It changes my energy. All right. The other thing is what you think about, you bring about, good and bad. So what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the hope, the possibilities, the positive energy, that anything is possible to those who believe? Because everything starts in our mind. You guys, you know, I'm a big mindset, thought process, working on that all the time, because it is a constant battle. The battlefield in your mind is constant. And so I'm always working towards that. And I notice I have had a few things in our life that has been a little bit not great. And it's a bigger battle to fight through that. And so I was reminded by a few little things that I used to do more significantly than I've been doing. I'm like, okay, I got to up my game, right? I got to up my game a little bit. So 5 tips to create a mindset that's powerful, that creates success in all areas of your life, that I have used over my career, that I want to share with you. I always say mindset management. Okay, so here we go. And you can be the temperature or the thermometer. Okay, so you want to be the thermometer, the thermostat. You want to be the thermostat. So you want to turn up the heat, right? Like you want to be the one that brings the energy. You want to bring the ones that changes the temperature in a room, that changes the temperature in your family. You want to bring the greatness and watch other people rise to that. All right, so number 1, are you aware of your self-talk? So most of us are very critical of ourselves, and we don't even know the thoughts that we're thinking. So think about what you're thinking about and the self-talk that you have. You don't have to believe every thought that you have. Interesting concept. You don't have to believe every thought that you have. And so challenge your thoughts, because typically your results, your environment, your successes are all the results of a belief that comes from your thinking. All right, number 2. I've been doing this for a long time. Now, you guys know that I pick a word of the year, or a word for every 6 months. That's a whole nother training. But for me, I do scripture cards. And here are I just found a bunch of them. So I do scripture cards, okay? Like these are some of my old past scripture cards that I've used. And literally, these are put on the back. I don't know why I keep these. These are on the back of like a legal tablet. I keep that back piece, that's cardboard, and I write on it. I don't know why. I think it's because it's super stiff, and I like that because I'm moving these around, carrying them, all that. But these are my scripture cards, and I've done it for a long time. And typically what I do is I either have a few sayings that are important in that season of my life, and then I pick a word and I deep dive into scripture about that word, and I'll find 4, 5, 6 scriptures that support that word or something that is on my mind that season of my life, and I'll write them down. And then this is part of my prayer time, is I'll read them every single day. And if I need a little boost, I'll go back to my prayer scripture card. So creating a scripture card, if you don't have one or you don't want to take the time, right now I will also put in the comments, I think, 12 Audacious Faith Confessions. And these were created by Stephen Furtick. And so these are also printed out. I'll post that, and you could just print those off. I actually laminate them. Before I moved to this house, I actually had one hanging in my shower. So while I was in the shower, I could read it. I'm a big time, like, what can I get done? 2, 3 things all at one time. But the 12 Audacious Faith Confessions. So having scripture cards, that's number 2 for mindset management. Number 3 is every day before going to bed is writing down your goals or your I am statements. Things like I am in the process of a healthy lifestyle. I am, because sometimes you say, I am losing 30 pounds. Like that just doesn't feel positive, right? Or it's like, oh, you only think of the 30 pounds. So I'm in the process of getting healthy. Or I am soon to be a red jacket with Mary Kay. Or I am powerful, strong, courageous. I am, like those kind of things that make you feel great. Now, all of them may not be true in this moment of time, but as you keep saying I am, you start to believe what you're saying to yourself. So write down every day your goals and I am statements, at least once a day. Before you go to bed is great because the last few minutes of what you do is what your mind goes to work all night to achieve, okay? Number 4, your voice is the most powerful voice that you hear. And so we have that little voice in our head, right? But our actual voice. So those I am statements or scripture card or goals or whatever it might be, on your phone, go to your voice memos and read it to yourself and leave it on a voice memo. So when you're driving or you're sitting at a doctor's office or you're watching the kids, practice, you have your voice memo that if you don't have your scripture card with you, which I also usually take a picture of these and have them in my phone in my gallery. So if I'm traveling or something, I don't have to necessarily carry these, but they're right there, is that you can listen to your voice memo. If you're having a dippy day, listen to your voice memo that empowers you, lifts you up, reads your scriptures to you, says your I am statements. So your voice, even though none of us like to hear our voice recorded, trust me, none of us like to see our face recorded, is that's the most powerful voice. I can speak into your life. Other people can speak into your life. Other people can say how great and awesome you are. But unless you're telling yourself that, you are negating typically what they're saying. And sometimes you're even negating what you're saying. So the more you do it, the more you start to believe it. All right. Number 5 is to have your goals or visions all over. Okay. So, plastering your house with your visions and your goal. You could do a vision book. We've talked about that before. So for example, I have a pillow. I bought a pillow that says $1 Million Circle of Excellence. It's in my office on my prayer chair. I have a seat cover that says $1 Million Unit. So I see it every single day that I'm in my office. So those are some things that, what are you doing visually, okay, to be bombarded with the things that you want? All right. So those are another thing that you can do. A vision book, putting it up in front of you, letting people know who can speak into you and keep your vision in front of you of what your goal is. But you have to know what your vision is first. You have to have a goal, and you have to have a belief system in your head that yes, anything is possible. And that's scriptural. Anything is possible to those who believe. So what are you believing for? What are you thinking about? And how are you managing your mindset? Hope this blessed you. Remember, go out and do the and then some.